And now back to your regular programming.
If you speak better to yourself.
You showed up for like probably the dumbest conversation we've ever had on this show.
Let's have that smile again.
Tell me how that happens. Physically should not happen.
Relax.
If you say
Give me as well.
3 times a day, God will line it up.
He's just an absolute hack, and he gets his ass kicked by his teammates every week. It's just terrible.
Welcome back to Hack City. Joe DeLeone, Sean Anderson here to recap the wild card round of the NFL playoffs, minus the game that is happening tonight on Monday. We'll tape a reaction likely tomorrow, I think, if that's in our near future in the cards. But there's a lot to cover. An awesome weekend of football, a lot of really close games. It lived up to some hope here. No G5 teams to get blown out. Everybody deserved to be in the playoff field. Reminder that today's episode is presented to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. If you're going to be betting on the NFL playoffs or the national championship, Indiana's the 8.5-point favorite. I'm taking Miami to cover on that. That's a mistake. Well, you made the mistake multiple times by doubting Miami. If you're going to be betting the rest of this month, make sure you go on over to FanDuel, and they've got all the best odds, props, whatever it is, for you to enjoy the games and make the action even better. Any lines you're liking for the next round, by the way?
How about divisional round, NFC West rematch, Seattle Seahawks favored by 7 against San Fran? What that team just did to Philly, and you favor them and you're favored by 7.
I don't really understand this like assertion that Seattle is that good.
They just did San Francisco pretty dirty in week 18, and they shut down Purdy, and he couldn't do anything, and he looked inept, and I think Seattle has their number. 7's a big line for the team that just walked down Philly in Philly.
I'm going to reiterate this, and we're going to get into the games after this because we're not here to project. We're here to obviously react to what just happened. I stand by what I brought up. I think it was last show. The fact that we are removed from literally a quarter defined how we look at the Seahawks. We let one quarter where they came back against the Rams. Before that, we were about to be talking about how fraudulent they were and how bad Darnold was playing. Now, all of a sudden, they're this unstoppable force. I don't know. I feel like
turning on Seattle.
I'm not. I like Seattle, but we're a line that big. I get without Kittle. I just think that they're also one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl, one of the high favorites to win the Super Bowl. So I'm not really for that belief. Let's jump into a game that kicked us off on the right foot, which was Rams versus Panthers.
Kick us off on the right foot here. Come on.
Yeah. Rams versus Panthers. This game ended up being really fun because it was a very back and forth duel between a young up-and-comer and Bryce Young, who had a lot of people that were hating on him for the way that he finished the season, and Matthew Stafford, who's the MVP favorite, and he didn't play his best ball against this Panthers defense. There were 4 lead changes in the fourth quarter that tied the most lead changes in the fourth quarter of a playoff game in NFL history. It marks just the 5th playoff game ever to feature 4 lead changes in the fourth quarter. I feel like my biggest takeaway, Sean, I know that there's a lot to talk about with the Rams, but I feel like that this was just another added notch for, hey, let's wait to bail on Bryce Young. Let's give Bryce time. He's showing us what he's capable of. It's not perfect, but we're almost there. Instead of rushing it, going and bringing in some dopey free agent and assuming that he's going to solve all your problems. If you can work out some sort of Stafford-esque trade like the Lions and the Rams did not that long ago that helped the Rams win a Super Bowl, maybe go and make that move. But I don't see a circumstance like that presenting itself.
Bryce Young, again, fourth quarter, threw a touchdown pass under 3 minutes, this one to Jalen Coker, to take the lead in the fourth quarter against the Rams. Bryce Young did that. All year, he did stuff like that, which is getting the lead for the team in the fourth quarter, walking them down. If he was playing in 2009, they would have moved on. He would have had way more wins this year. Carolina would have had a winning record. But analytics and all these dork ball coaches let teams just march down, kick field goals, or get touchdowns and tie it up now. So that's just how it is. You have a lead with 2 minutes and 39 seconds left. It's gone. That's how it works. And the Rams are really good. They deserved it. But Bryce Young NFL quarterback asserted. Like, you have a spot starting in the NFL, Bryce Young. If Carolina doesn't see that, another team will happily pick you up because you cannot teach fourth quarter killer moments. And that's what he does. And wide receiver room, looking a bit up. Jalen Coker, good game. Tedero McMillan. That's a future right there. Those are two guys that you can, I'd say, be comfortable with having on the outside. Do you need some more help? Yeah, Xavier Legette didn't pan out how you wanted it to. The Rico Dowdle thing kind of flamed out. Chuba Hubbard, what happens there? I think that you could find a back better than Chuba. You have a good draft. The Carolina Panthers are another pain in the ass next year. They're not a world beater, but they're a pain in the ass for any other team in the NFC South that might have a young quarterback trying to chip his teeth, a young quarterback that a city wants to believe in the A that could get everybody on their feet, like what just happened in Charlotte.
Stop making this about Atlanta.
Sorry,
Jesus.
pardon me.
Just
think about these things. And I'm watching Bryce Young do things that I wish my quarterback would do, my young quarterback would do. And that's good for him.
Well, let's get Michael Penix to have knees first.
Okay.
Let's get
what
him
do we
to,
know? We need watching now? That's
I'm
crazy.
just saying, like, let's get him on the field. You're like worried about how he's playing, but he can't stay on the field. That is a whole separate issue. It has nothing to do. You need to get on the field and stay on the field to develop. Everybody wants to talk about, by the way, look what you did. You know, I'm about to say everyone wants to talk about Jackson Dart being reckless and getting banged up, but he doesn't. But meanwhile, you're a quarterback.
Can't stay
on the field. All right, to stick with this, though, I think what's also really incredibly impressive, though, is I think it's undervalued how good this Panthers defense is. The fact that they took an offense that is typically quite potent and not completely bottled them up, but they rattled Stafford to a degree. He wasn't that same level of clean that we've seen. He made mistakes that allowed the Panthers to hang in this. I think that the next fold is maybe approaching it of getting a linebacker this year. Maybe you draft C.J. Allen in the first round, and then you come back around in the second round and you invest in free agent. And we've talked a lot about them going and getting a tight end, them going and getting another receiver, another running back, whatever it is. Just build out the arsenal instead of going all in on getting another quarterback, put everything around him. And if that then fails, then you're vindicated in trying to move on from him. Do you think that the Rams showed flaws, though? Do you think that the Rams showed that, hey, maybe this team is not as dominant as we thought that they could be?
They weren't as efficient as I thought they could be. Yeah. Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams targeted 31 times in this game between the two. Puka 18, Devontae 13, 15 catches between them. That's 16 dead plays that just didn't work out for the Rams on offense. I don't know if that's happened much this year. Probably not, given the amount of points that they've been scoring, how good they've looked. Carolina kind of had that number. Carolina made the Rams, the Los Angeles Rams, who we were discussing as Super Bowl as we're prophets, obviously, as Super Bowl contenders in like week 4. They made the Rams have to go down and beat them in the fourth quarter. The line was 10.5 before the game started. The Los Angeles was expected to win by double digits, and you have to have a game-winning drive. Whoa. Like, I know it's playoff football, and we could do the trope of it gets tougher in the playoffs and these teams show up. But the Rams are supposed to be one of these teams that does not bow down to an 8-9 Panthers squad. And they were in fits. Kyron Williams couldn't get it really going on the ground, only 57 yards. Blake Corum, only 45 yards. So it was just up to Stafford to lead a game-winning drive. Good thing is, he's pretty good at that. So you move on, you're doing okay, and you're not really that upset about it. But they could have been so much cleaner. They were a bit sloppy, and now you're looking at them going up against a hungry, crazy Chicago Bears team next week. Chaos matchup. Like it's going to be one of the best games of the weekend. Just because of the chaos, because the Rams, if they're playing clean, it won't be close. But if they're playing like they did versus Carolina, it'll be a score fest between them and Chicago.
Well, so you bring up Chicago. That game was unbelievable. Another comeback for this Bears team. They've done it all year long. It was their 7th win in 2025 when trailing in the final 2 minutes of regulation. That is an NFL record. A benchmark in NFL history is the line from Next Gen Stats. That's insane that they've put together that many late comebacks. The win now ends a 14-season playoff victory drought. And that drought was tied for the 3rd longest active streak, matching the Dolphins and the Raiders. I think that there's a complicated conversation that's kind of happening right now with Caleb Williams. I feel like a lot of people still don't want to give the kid credit. He played really well. His completion percentage was bad. He wasn't perfect. Again, I continue to come out. I will be the biggest defender of young quarterbacks until they hit like 27. When you hit 27, I'm going to start hating on you. I'm going to start calling you crap. I'm going to start calling you shit. I'm going to start saying that you're a fraud. I will gladly do that.
You're not far off the mark with your recent conversations of Justin Herbert, who is 20. I think he's 27 or 28.
He just turned 27. Hey, he's perfect always in my eyes.
Uh-huh.
He's dating Madison Beer. That automatically.
Hey, that wins ball games.
Yeah. Caleb Williams, though, I think reminded everybody that he can do such unreal things that many humans on this earth can't do. That throw that he had where he was off platform was practically like jumping in a way.
He was falling.
It zipped it, completely zipped it with full juice to one of his receivers. That is something that no quarterback is able to really do in the NFL. Maybe Mahomes is the only other guy that I could name that has the juice in their arm to do it. And I don't think Allen's particularly pinpoint accurate with his passes, even though he's got a bigger arm than Williams by a slight margin. The ability to make plays like that as he grows over the next couple of years with a brilliant offensive mind in Ben Johnson is what makes the Bears a threat in the future.
It looked like a shortstop tagging the far side of the second base before he rolled it to first base. Quarterbacks don't throw like that. They don't throw with their chest completely front out exposed like you're finishing your golf swing. It was just tremendous performance by Caleb Williams. I saw it be this game a little more revelatory for him, where people are like, wow, this is the first time I've really watched the Bears. And this guy, I think he's actually pretty good. You're late to the party. You are. You should have seen it in year one. I think we saw it in year one, just what he could be. The fact that the arm strength translated in some of the throws he made once he wasn't anchored down by incompetency in bad OCs and a bad head coach. Look what the guy's doing now. Ben Johnson, thank you for waiting and not taking a shit job when you had the opportunity, waiting for a good job to open up, and then you get to coach the 1-1 pick at quarterback. Like, thank you for doing that, because now I get to see what this guy can actually do, which is become a top 5 quarterback in the league, and not in a long time to do it. A guy that's going to challenge and push some of these other guys that are 28, 27, 29. Once the old guard finally gives it up, who's he not giving bump to? Who's he not pushing to say, I'm top 5? I just want a playoff game. I want a playoff game, and my running back had 50 yards. I had 360. We start on the 35-yard line. I'm putting up 360 yards on the heated rival, and my coach is snubbing the other coach at the handshake line. That was awesome. I love the fallout from that too. Like that. Bears, Packers hate each other. That's how it's supposed to go. Snub your handshakes, punch each other at midfield. I don't care. Either one's good for me. I was thrilled with this outcome. Packers, so embarrassing. 21-3. Welcome to the club. But Chicago, so much momentum. Really, really, I think could win next week.
I just would really like for them to actually start hot. I'd really like for them to actually start with momentum. What are you doing?
They can't do that.
What do you do? I look over and you're like spreading your shorts open.
Don't worry about
down.
what I got going on over here.
Well, okay. Well, I look up to make eye contact in the same room as my co-host, and
here's the thing: I got some new boxers.
Don't have holes in them.
Yeah, that don't have holes.
Your balls aren't hanging out. And you're like, where are my balls?
Exactly. We're going
not hanging out.
We're going no hole underwear at the start of 2026, and I'm getting used to them, because normally I get the clingy ones, and these are kind of more loose. So I'm kind of swimming in them right now.
You
so I'm
shouldn't
sorry.
be allowed outside.
Apologies.
I know Brad paints this as excited about what we're about to get to next. The Bills pull off a close victory against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Josh Allen quite literally put the team on his back.
Yep.
Could not have put the team on his back more. Did not get much support from his receivers. Brandon freaking Cooks is the guy who made a number of big plays in this game. I think that depicts how much they need to really invest in rounding out that receiver room, because their draft investments have not exactly paid off. The Bills have won a road playoff game for the first time since 1992, the 1992 AFC Championship game. That snaps an 8-game road losing streak. It also is the first career road win for Josh Allen, who was 0-4 before that. Allen, by the way, now has 8 career playoff wins as a starting quarterback. That is the most by a quarterback without a Super Bowl appearance in NFL history. So he's doing his best Jim Kelly impression, best Dan Marino, doing the bit of, hey, look at me winning all these games and not winning the important one. But
that's right.
The thing that sucks, and I still stand by this, I'm sorry, Bills fans. I feel like the way in which they had to win is an indicator that they're not going to make it all the way. And as we talked about a couple weeks ago, it's quite disappointing that this is the reality that we live in. The one year that you could have gone on a run, you're dealing with all of these constraints.
Yeah, it's not sustainable the way that they won. First of all, Jacksonville, you suck. Jacksonville, terrible. Jacksonville, send you home packing. You guys were frauds all year. You reeked all year. You beat a bunch of nobodies in the AFC South all year.
I think you need to stop acting like they didn't play great. They still played a pretty good game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think the team played pretty well. The defense impressed me. Like, I thought they were good. Devin Lloyd had a good game. It's more about Trevor Lawrence shitting his pants, throwing 2 picks, especially. I mean, I saw one tweet that summed it up. That was Trevor Lawrence had a shot at a legacy drive, and it only lasted 1 play. That can't happen. That's just something that you just can't do in the playoffs, where first play, you make a bad decision where to go with the ball. It was premeditated. You didn't make a read. Pops up, intercepted, game over. Be better. That's the whole statement on Jacksonville. I was right. They were wrong. Buffalo, not sustainable how they've operated. Really not, because Josh Allen looked like he was, like, for the first time in forever, actually looked human when he was taking hits. That goal line touchdown, the first rushing touchdown that he had, where he barreled through, I'm big and strong, and then gets pushed back on his back. I thought he was hurt. I thought he was down.
Everybody thought he was hurt the whole game.
Like, what the hell? You just scored, big man. Get up. Oh, no, he's laying back. Someone needs to revive him. That is not a good sign for the next round. It's really not. Against a Denver team, against that defense, they hit in Denver. Jacksonville plays.
Stop.
Fundamental defense. But they really hit in Denver.
Can't help but constantly disparage Jacksonville in every opportunity.
They're terrible. They were real
They're
bad
not
this year.
Terrible. They weren't as fraudulent as you depict them. They played a really good defensive game. I thought that Trevor Lawrence played better than you're willing to give him credit for.
Correct.
He made a very sloppy mistake at the very end of the game.
And
bad mistake.
And at the very beginning. Josh Allen was relatively mistakeless.
He had to be.
Yeah.
The only way that they could win is if he was as perfect as possible and quite literally Superman and running all over the place and making ridiculous plays.
That's the impossibility of the NFL. I saw on the first drive where he converted like a 3rd and 8 to Tyrell Shavers for 14 yards. I'm like, this can't be drive 1. We have Tyrell Shavers bailing us out. This can't be how this works.
I need Brandon Beane to self-reflect, for the love of God, and just go get some damn receivers.
Oh, they did. They brought Gabe Davis back right for the playoffs.
And right for his ACL to disappear. I mean, this is just it's the worst receiver room of all the playoff teams. It's just the worst receiver room of any team that was in the playoffs and now is still alive in the playoffs. And any production that these guys had came off of the fact that Allen was making them productive. We know Cook's great, but outside of that, he's got to get something. You know what my belief is here? I think that and this is going to roll into the next game, which we're not going to jump to just yet. I think you go and get A.J. Brown. I understand that I am no contract.
Awesome.
I'm no contract expert. People were bringing up the $20 million hit that comes with the trade. I have no idea. There has got to be some sort of maneuverability with that because of the maneuverability of contracts and salary caps and the way that these experts are able to figure this shit out and how it's able to manipulate these things. There has to be a way. Go and get A.J. Brown. Trade your first and whatever other picks to go and get A.J. Brown. You know what Josh Allen needs? He needs a guy who has always been a bucket in contested situations. You know what A.J. Brown needs? A guy who he actually respects throwing him the football and who's also calling plays for him. That is the perfect marriage. Sure, at times he can be a little bit dramatic, but I think that He is one of the least diva-ish wide
I'm
receivers
with
in
you.
the NFL.
This whole
He is
A.J. Brown, all this.
misconstrued.
No, I think A.J. Brown's been like in the right in every
He's
single
got a
step.
meathead idiot yelling at him. Of course he's getting pissed off. And then he's got looks-maxing Jalen Hurts just with the most. He's mewing on the sideline. So you've got a pissed-off Italian screaming at you.
Yeah.
You've got a big Dom with his labubu. And then you look over at Jalen Hurts trying to figure out, hey, man, what's going on? And he's just sitting there stone cold mewing. And he's got the crispiest fade and he's got great facial hair. Jalen Hurts got great facial hair, but that doesn't win football games. Josh Allen is going to win football games if you pair the two of them together.
It'd be nice. I mean, here's the thing. They're not going to have to pay Keon Coleman his big contract after his rookie deal. Disappearing act. What the hell? Keon Coleman should be the guy that you do the contested catches with.
He was supposed to be A.J. Brown.
He's not. You need a A.J. Brown in Buffalo would be so cool. I thought I'm sitting here like every time they put a microphone in A.J. Brown, I agree with him. I agree with what he says. He holds himself very well in front of a mic. He's not cursing at his team. He's not throwing his coach under the bus. He takes accountability. I like that guy. And his whole problem is what? My quarterback stinks and can't give me the ball. I agree. You need to get with a guy and an offense that works for you. Devontae Smith was like the most positive, feel-good wide receiver, just full of energy, life. After that loss, it looked like he served the term as the president, where you look at his rookie picture and his picture now, a completely different guy. His face looks more hollow. He looks like he's seen war. Like, this is what happens when you go and try to play in that Philly offense with Kevin Patullo calling the shots here. Like, it just does not work. It's not going to work with them. And then I don't know. They get away from Barkley. They don't have the fully healthy offensive line. Why am I talking about Philly? I guess A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs to get out of there because does it get better next year? How could it? Why would it? There's nothing that indicates A.J. Brown wants to be in this same scenario next year, which is exactly what's going to happen next year because Jalen Hurts, I think he's proved that he's about capped out on his ceiling. Where I don't see how he develops in a significant way over the next 2 years.
So we've kind of rolled into this talking point with the 49ers Eagles game. That was one of the most frustrating games to watch because you have a team that's literally on practice squad players. You have a team that is out of bodies, out coaching you, out maneuvering you, and out willing you. Brock Purdy, I don't think played particularly well. Bad turnovers in this game.
Yeah.
Bad turnovers in this game. They still won. This was an absurd stat that I found. The Eagles had a +2 turnover margin and a +65 rushing yard margin in the loss. The Eagles became the first team in the Super Bowl era to lose a playoff game with a turnover margin better than +1 and a rushing yardage margin better than +50. You know what the record was before that? 132-0. It is such a simple concept, by the way, in football, and it's something that we talk about a million times over. The team that wins the turnover margin and wins the line of scrimmage and runs the ball better oftentimes wins. This stat proves that. Up until the Eagles find a way to shit out their own ass and become the first team to not succeed in that scenario. Insane. Absolutely insane. And I think it goes to show that Jalen Hurts is so reliant on an offensive coordinator that is just so brilliant at scheming things. I know that Patullo is obviously at fault here for being a dunce, but the fact that we're still pretending, or anyone's pretending, that Jalen Hurts is some sort of otherworldly quarterback. He is the 17th best quarterback. I'm just arbitrarily throwing that out there. He is good enough to win you football games. He's good enough to be out there, but I would not, in any circumstance, go and make a move to go and get Jalen Hurts. He's not somebody I would rely on.
No.
I get that. This is why it's so frustrating, is that he obviously played well in the Super Bowl, but that was the best game of his career.
Yeah. And that's credit to him for actually showing up and having the best games of his career in the big one. But holy, you just cannot have this performance. You cannot lose to the San Francisco 49ers in this game if you're Philly. At home, Roland, Saquon, Devontae, Goddard, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts. The tush push, the ramifications of the tush push that people were calling out early on. It's like looking at the first doctor that looks at cigarettes is like, oh, these things might actually be bad for you. And everyone's like, no, they're fine. They taste good. I'm a little buzzed. No, I think the tush push was injuring defensive players all the time, and it was wearing them out on drives, and they physically could not keep up with Philly after a drive with 2 or 3 of them. And they're just like, we can't keep on having 2 tons of mass lay on us and then expect to go cover these freaks. Can't do it. You take that out of the arsenal. Oh, what a human team this is. No more is this the Avengers of the NFC East. This is just a team. This is just a regular team with a regular quarterback, a great running back, and an offensive line that if they were healthy, maybe they do win this one. Maybe it's a little less pressure, but I really, one of the more satisfying losses I can remember watching Philly go down. It's always fun watching Philly go down. It's always fun watching the meltdown.
Minus my bet not hitting.
I think Nick Sirianni reeks. Like, as a coach, whatever, he gets this team up and they play for him. That's all that's said about it. I don't believe that. I think this is a players winning to spite their coach situation, which works. That's a strategy that has been used in football. But in the modern era, it's a little different. You're going to, unless you're winning every single year, you can't be the a-hole and then also be like cursing, yelling, get in the face of A.J. Brown, making a fool out of yourself, losing to Brock Purdy when he throws 2 picks. You can't do that. I think he's a bit of a clown. You don't fire him 2 years after you won a Super Bowl. I understand there's decorum there.
No, a year after.
Well, I'm thinking after this one, it'll be 2, but
yeah,
you just don't do that. But it's not a squeaky clean safe job. Like this guy is. Well, the optics are as bad as the results are good, is what I'll say.
How long after Doug Peterson winning a Super Bowl did they fire him? It's just because you win a Super Bowl doesn't mean that you have permanent security. This is why the evaluation and the discussion of Sirianni and Hurts is generally quite complicated, is because they won the Super Bowl last year, and I think a lot of things went right that set up for the circumstance for them to have accomplished that. I think that the real truth that just comes away with all of this is that Howie Roseman is such a brilliant roster builder that a moron could coach this team to playoff victories. So the fact that with that core of players, they could not win against a team that had no bodies left. The fact that they couldn't win down the stretch, and Jalen Hurts was errant in all over the place and didn't step up when they needed him to the most, I think goes to show where their actual strengths lied. I think that we understand who the players were that were carrying the team and where the dead weight was. And I think it's Sirianni, and I think that it's with Jalen Hurts. I think that Kellen Moore, as he proved the improvements that the Saints had down the stretch, if the Saints end up becoming competitive and developing into a really good team, I think this is something that we'll be talking about in 3-4 years of, man, it really was all Kellen Moore. And this is something that just generally is always a really interesting perspective to look at. And I always love to look back at it a couple of years after, is how much was it the coordinator and how much was it the head coach? Right now, another example of that is the Lions. Look, I love Dan Campbell. I think that Dan Campbell's a great coach, but current moment, it seems like Ben Johnson had a lot to do with that team being as good as it was.
Oh yeah, big time. Philly's a different team this year. Another point to blame outside of Quinyon Mitchell, the defensive backfield, horrendous in this one. You just, the guys that were catching passes for San Francisco are just ridiculous, and they were all impact catches. Demarcus Robinson had 111 yards. Who?
Dead ass.
Against Philly? Kyle Juszczyk, 4 catches for 49. Who? The fullback? You're giving that up? Terrible. Defense was terrible in this one. Like Christian McCaffrey catch 2. The last one was great. Like, credit to the 49ers are just so well coached. And that was the whole scuttlebutt at the water cooler today in the office was, man, Shanahan has to be coach of the year. They're just so well coached. How do you do that to Philly? How do you walk him down with Brock Purdy? He's kind of mid. How do you do that? How does Juwan Jennings throw a crazy touchdown? He's kind of mid also. They did it. They just don't make the mistakes. They had Eric Kendricks off the couch making tackles for him. Are you kidding? What a team. Say what you want about them. You might say they're not talented. They don't have the depth to really win it all. Whatever. Go ahead. Look me in the eyes and tell me they're not going to cover. Look me in the eyes and tell me they're not going to play it all the way down into the fourth quarter and actually give you real burn the whole time. That's what San Francisco does. Kyle Shanahan's so dialed. Yeah. He knew exactly what he had to do to beat Philly. It was a great mix of like Christian McCaffrey fundamentals, little creativity. Back to C-Mac, little creativity. Purdy makes a huge mistake. We need to get some help. And then they did. Just really, really top to bottom. Great performance from San Francisco. Well, I don't think they win it all.
No, I mean, exactly, you lose Kittle. This thing is cooked.
But this is the win though. This is one of these wins that gives you're not walking in the divisional round thinking, oh, we're cooked. Like, oh, I can't believe it. We don't have a shot. You got a shot. You always have a shot with that coach. You always have a shot with McCaffrey. And that's what matters. And that's what I thought Philly had going. Nope. That's San Francisco's bit this year. We're going to go with our strengths. Philly, they leaned on their weaknesses.
I'm very curious, as you said, to see how much this 49ers team could cobble something together, because they have won improbably plenty this year without any of its key starters, their whole defensive line. I think that the buck probably stops against the Seahawks, but my God, give Kyle Shanahan a lifetime contract. If you have not already established that, he is somebody.
Give him the Calipari.
Seriously,
Niner for life.
He is shown that he can turn duct tape and sticks into a winning football team. That is unbelievable that they won this game and they're still alive. I don't know how Justin Herbert's still alive.
Yeah.
Watching him get completely demolished by a relentless Patriots team. The under hit, by the way, my prediction was accurate.
I'm happy for you.
Chargers right now are on an unreal run of failure. The Chargers have lost each of their last 4 playoff games, 2018, 2022, 2024, and 2025. This is the longest playoff losing streak in Chargers franchise history. Only the Dolphins and Steelers have a longer active losing streak at 6. So this is starting to turn into a very disappointing and frustrating trend for the Chargers. And if Justin Herbert had an offensive line, who knows what would. This was so depressing, by the way, to watch, just to be quite frank, minus the if man jokes. Every time he's dropped back, and every time I've watched him in a game this year, it's drop back, immediately pocket collapse. Drop back, immediately pocket collapse. You just, Bobby Hart and Mekhi Becton are just standing there with their hand in their pants, just going, what happened?
Do you think they were saying that?
They look dumbfounded every single time Justin Herbert gets blasted. And it's not like he's getting hit. He gets hit so hard that it looks like he's going to explode every single
smoked.
It's not even. That's the craziest part about all this, is that sometimes you get these quarterbacks with bad offensive lines that, hey, maybe they're elusive, they get away. And he's actually quite elusive and he's quite fast, and he was getting away. But when he gets hit, he gets destroyed. And I don't know how that man is still standing.
It's like a crash dummy.
Seriously.
It's unbelievable. So the 6-year senior still looking for that first playoff win. I mean, come on, kid. You got to go get one. You have to go get one. I mean, Harbaugh basically called the man Jesus Christ. Like he adorned him the savior of the new world, and he still doesn't have a playoff win in 2 years, and they keep on collapsing. And maybe are we blaming Keenan Allen? Are we blaming Quentin Johnston? The whole operation? I thought this was supposed to be Michigan 2.0, where it's grit and toughness. We run through you and we're relentless. Versus the Patriots in that game was a tremendous opportunity to do that. Cold as all hell against a defense that's good, not great, better at the pass defense, and they are run defense. Where was the lean? Where was the physicality? Where was the bullying? No.
They don't have the bodies to do that. What are you
where is it, Joe? You can run block. Any offensive lineman in the NFL can run block. That's just one thing you can do. And if you're
I think you're giving them a lot of grace here for how bad that unit is.
That unit is trust me, really rough. They are the Buffalo Bills wide receiver room of playoff offensive lines. The worst of the bunch. Really bad. But does that mean we're going to scheme up Justin Herbert to just do whatever the hell he wants in the backfield and get smoked? That's what it looked like they did. Where is that the option? Is let our glory boy stand there like a wax figure and let Caden Ellis or the other Ellis just detonate in his chest? Run the rock. Figure it out. The Chargers always misstep in the playoffs.
Well, wait, hold on. But also, Marion Hampton was hurt too. I just don't think that
He's been hurt all year.
It was
Kamani.
It was done before it even started. That's my whole point.
It was, and that's why I nuked a massive. Of course, it's going to hit play on the Patriots, and I just won a bunch of money last night because they weren't
look
going
at
to
you,
lose
Mr.
that
Big Money Bags over
Oh,
here.
Mr. You opened the segment talking about hitting your under. Shut up.
Screw you.
The Patriots are good though. The Chargers is just tragic. Like, when do they win a game? When is it? Next year when everything's perfect and they're the Iris and it just have to have the perfect
Quentin Johnson
lighting.
and Lamb McConkey are both going to be hurt, and Oronde Gads. All three of those guys are going to be hurt, and then one of their key defensive players is going to be hurt, and then we're going to say, well, if he had
God, oh my
his
God.
weapons.
Yeah, you know what? Quentin Johnson actually took a step forward this year. I actually thought he had a much better season. I thought that this was the year he would like flame out in the NFL and he'd do his Marquez Valdez-Scantling impression and go team to team to team and just be the big, fast wide receiver. Nope, he was better this year. Lad McConkey, step back. Oh my God, what a regression from that guy. He was supposed to be the dialed guy. So the next Cooper Kupp. I know it's a white receiver and a white receiver, but that's what he was billed as. All right. That's what we thought he was going to be. He's not. The skill position players from the Chargers are disappointing. I also think we over-evaluate them because they're in the cleanest uniforms of all time every single game, and we think they're better than they are because they look good. Just because they look good doesn't mean they are good. Just because Justin Herbert's hair, it looks good doesn't mean that he is like the best quarterback on earth. The throws that Justin Herbert gets glazed for, Joe, are miracle throws that happen twice a game because he's sprinting out of the pocket, fending for his life, and everyone's like, Joe A. NFL or any of these other dorks are like, oh, there's nobody on earth that could do what Justin Herbert did. Brother, there's other quarterbacks don't have to do what he's doing. They're still in the pocket making throws that look easier. Just because it looks hard doesn't mean it's talent. The talent makes up for the deficiencies in the offense. Doesn't mean they're going to win a playoff game. That's what they need to address. How do we do it normally? How do we do it normally?
Oh, you get your offensive line back.
That'd be cool. But I mean, the Bears are going to stumble into this in the playoffs. How do we win normal? They don't know how to do that yet. That's why they're not going to win the Super Bowl, because they don't know how to do it. It's what happened with Washington last year. They just kept on winning on batshit crazy, not luck, but like, we don't know what to do with this team because we haven't seen this team act like this before. The Chargers need to get normal, and they need to get normal fast.
I do think that the Patriots kind of showed on the flip side of that they can win gritty, and I think that part of this is kind of a double-edged sword because you're playing up against a really good defense. You're having trouble consistently sustaining drives, and May delivered on a number of those drives down the stretch when he needed to. And I think it plays into this belief that, hey, May is capable of carrying this team on a run during the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, we keep talking about here, they had a very cupcake schedule to get to this point.
That is true.
You get to face the Chargers team with no offensive line, and you get to completely torch Justin Herbert and smoke him. It's the best opportunity that they could have been presented.
Yeah. Okay. It's good that you're framing it like this because you're right. And the Patriots have had like a dream situation for their team. But so what? They're still winning. If they lost, we'd be like, oh, well, I guess they weren't as good as what we thought they were. And now it's, oh, they only beat the lowly Chargers with an offensive line. Like, this team is going to have the goalposts moved for them until they're in the Super Bowl. Like, I guess that's when it happens, because right now I'm looking at it. They got to beat Houston or Pittsburgh, doable. And then they got to beat Denver or Buffalo. I pick the Patriots over both those teams. I do. I really do. Unless it's a total collapse. Also, league better watch out if Drake Maye actually gets his legs going. Starts acting like a little bit like Josh Allen. He had some big time runs yesterday that changed the game. Even if they didn't score on those drives, they changed the game because they moved them up to the 50. We're able to pin Los Angeles back. I'm moving some goalposts now. Fail drive, I'll move some goalposts and say that a punt is a good thing for the Patriots. This guy, Drake Maye, is dialed. He didn't look like the moment was too big for him. And his offensive line wasn't very good last night. Will Campbell had a bad game last night.
Shocked.
I am genuinely shocked at that. He was sacked 5 times, a couple crash dummy hits also. He got smoked a couple of times. So I think they are going to gear up, be better on the offensive line, and then, I don't know, do better with the skill positions. It can't be Efton Chisholm show. We can't have Efton Chisholm.
Hey,
I love Efton.
respect him.
But, like, you have to have Stephon Diggs show up. Kayshon Boutte was great. Kyle Williams needs to show up. If Kyle Williams catches a touchdown, they win a game. That's how I see it. If he doesn't, then it's going to be a grit fest like we just saw versus the Chargers. Either way, I think I'm going with the Patriots. Keep on rolling through.
All right, everybody, let us know below your thoughts on the NFL playoffs. Hit that like button and subscribe. We'll talk to you later.